Today I'm going to show you exactly how you can build a full scheduling agent that allows you to book meetings, cancel, move them, and it will also have all the information about the company. In this example, I created a refund agent for Apple that can actually schedule meetings with their specialists using call.com and getting all the information from the Apple website. If it's your first time here, my name is JD, I sold my first company and now I spend my days building AI products and cool AI automations. So let's get started. The first thing you're going to want to do is actually go to my school community, the link is in the description, so that you can get the template to get started. So once you go there, you click Classroom, and then you can click the template section. And here we can see we have some templates, but what you want is this, the booking agent, and you just right click and download. After this, you can go to NA10, you can click on create a workflow, and you can click the three dots and import from file and just select the file we just downloaded. So in this case, this is mine. So I'll open it and you can see we now have this. Now, if we try to actually chat, it won't work. You can see we got an error. So let's start by fixing those errors. And to open this, I can see we're missing some vector IDs. So we're going to fix this. So let's go step by step. The first thing you want to do is configure call.com. So if you just go to call.com, you can go to the app or you can register if you have not. So you click go to the app. And after that, you'll see something like this. So you'll need two things in here. First, you'll need the event type. So if you click one meeting, you actually have this number right here, which is what you need to copy. So copy this number, go back to your NA10, and in all of this, you need to open and replace the event type here. So this is very important because it's the type of the event you're actually scheduling. So I'll just paste it here, this case is the same, and do the same for all of them. The next thing you need from call.com is to actually connect your application to call.com. And the way you do this is with an API key. So you just click settings, you click API keys, and then you click add. You can name it whatever you want. For example, this, you can set it to never expire, and I'll just click save, and I'll get an API key. So you want to copy this, make sure you never share this to anyone because it should be kept a secret. So you just copy, and then you go back to NA10, you click one of these, and in my case, you can see I have a credential here already, but you'll see the same thing as you have here, but this will be empty. So you just make sure you have a generic credential type, then you select bearer auth, and then you click here and create a new credential, and you just paste what you just copied here, and you save. For example, I'm going to name this demo 2. I'll save, and now I can go back and I can see this is actually selected. So you do this for one of these, and then if you go back and open the next one, now you'll see the credential you just added. Okay, so this is the first part. This is actually connecting to the call.com, and if you don't want to give any information about the company whatsoever, you can just remove this. So I'm just going to do that. I remove this one, and then you need to actually add another chat model. So I'm going to just do this, I'll click the more, I'll click the OpenAI. In this case, I'll just leave it as GPT-4 Mini. If this is still failing, you might have to actually add your OpenAI account. So if you don't know what this is, you need to go to this link, you need to click Login API Platform. And if you don't have an account, you need to create one. And after that, you can go to the dashboard. You can click API keys, and you can click on Create a new secret key. And it will ask you for a name of that key, for example, test. Now create the account key. And then it will give you something like this, which is what you need. So you just copy this. You open your workflow. You click add new credential. You can name it whatever you want here. And then you just paste the value just copied here. And what this is actually doing is actually accessing OpenAI using an API key. So if I now just say hi, now send, you'll actually get a response. We can see it's already trying to schedule a meeting. So now that we have this, let's go step by step, and then we'll see how we can add actually the company information. So we start with a chat received. This is just the chat URL. It's publicly available. So if I copy this and I actually activate the workflow, we'll see this message. We can just ignore it for now. And now we can actually paste it and we'll be able to see the chat here. If you want to configure the first message, you could change it here, but the most important thing is to make sure you're using response nodes. So if you don't see this, you just click add field, then you select response mode, and then you select using response nodes. Here we go. So next it goes to the AI agent. The AI agent is what does everything here. So I'm just going to open. You have this long prompt. It will be already there, but I'll also leave it on the school community. And what we're basically doing is telling the agent what tools he has available to him. So it should be able to then automatically use the tools. I'm not going to read this, but you can see it's actually trying to get some stuff from the client. So the email, the name, a description of the meeting. So it's trying to get a lot of data. But you don't need to really worry too much about this. You just need to do it, to paste it as is, and it will use the tools. Then I add a simple memory, it just keeps track of the conversation. So if I open, you can see I just gave it 20, so it will be able to see the last 20 messages. And I have to give it the session ID. In this case, it's just a JSON.session ID. Then we have the tools themselves. Let's go over them. So I have the check time slot. And what we do, as we said before, is we set the authorization so we can actually access the calendar. And in this case, we have the event type. And then we have a start and end time, which we just click this button and it will be automatically defined by the model. And then you have the time zone. In my case, I'm in Europe, in the Lisbon time zone, so I just left it as Europe time zone. Lastly, you have a format range, and you can see we also have the header parameters. So if you don't know where this comes from, when you're using an external service like Call AI, you usually have an API. So if I go to call.ai, and I go down and I click here the enterprise API, we now have the API that we are calling. So in this case, you can see I'm calling the slots endpoint. And if I go here and I search slots, this is something like this, which tells you how you actually make a request and what you need. And that's just what we did with all of these tools. We are calling the URL with the arguments they expect. So for example, if I go to the get bookings by email, I can see I'm passing here a complicated expression, but if it's just checking if a booking exists for that and deal with that email, and you can see in this case we don't even have any fields, and we then did this to all of them. But if you don't want to worry about this, you just need to connect as I saw before, and that should work. Then we just give it the chat a simple response. Let's see if you can actually schedule a meeting. So let's go to our chat, say hi, and see what he does us back. I want to schedule a meeting. So it's asking for details as we saw before. So for example, my name will be JD, and the email can be test@test.com. So I'll just send. And we get gather details, but we still haven't told it the preferred date. And it's also asking if we have a legal area, because this was a chatbot for legal agencies. So I'm just going to tell you, I want the meeting to be next Monday at 10, and it's about sports law, so I'll just send it. And just check if there's a slot available. And we can see it's available. So let's say yes. Let's give it a minute to actually try and schedule. And you can see it has been scheduled. Now if you go to ourcall.com, and if you go to the bookings and the upcoming, we see we now have a meeting scheduled. So then we can check which meetings we actually have. And it actually gave us the meeting we have. I can just say, can you change it to next Friday? And I'll send. You can see it's changed. And if you go to our calendar and we refresh, we should see it's actually Friday and it was rescheduled. So let's now ask it to cancel the meeting. So it asks us if we're sure we want to cancel. We do, so just say yes, and it should cancel the meeting. So it should be canceled. And now if you go to the Call AI and we refresh, you can see the meeting is not here and should be on the canceled meetings. And here it is, Friday, and it's canceled. So if you actually want to check what's happened, you can go to the executions, and each execution, for example, this was the last one, we can see it got the booking by email and then it canceled the meeting. So the AI agent actually knows which tools he has to call to do each operation, and this makes it a very versatile agent that you can actually sell to your clients. And so now I'm going to show you I can actually adapt this for a client. I'm going, for example, to adapt it as if Apple was my client. So I'm just going to go to the Apple website. I'm just going to copy this, go again to our OpenAI. You need to click the storage and you'll want to create a new vector store. So I'll just create a new. I'm going to call it Apple refunds. And then we need to actually add a file. So what you want to do is take this, you just copy it and save it on any type of file. In this case, I'm just using a simple .txt file. So I'm just going to save it and save it on my desktop. And then we need to go to our vector store. We click on add files and you just drag and drop the file you just created. Just drag and drop and it will start uploading. So hit attach once it's done. And this is what will give us the actual vector store. If you don't know, the vector store is just a vector database, which AI can use much better, and this allows you to give context to your application, and this basically works like a RAG system, which is a retrieval augmented generation, which means it has more context than the normal GPT, just as it is would. So you want to copy this, we can go back to our NA10, we can remove this we had before, and we can connect to the last one, so just connect it, and now let's open. And if you open, you'll have something like this, but if you don't see this, you just need to click on built-in tools and you select the file search, and you can see it's actually asking for the vector store ID, which is what I just created. So I'll just paste it here, and then you actually need to add this for it to work. No filters, and you're drawing all the files. In this case, it's just one, but you can have multiple files, and the type is AND. So what we have just done is give it a bunch of information about the Apple refund policy. So now we can ask it questions about it. So let's try it. So I'll just ask, hi, can I refund an iPad from last year? Let's send. And we can see we get a big message. Apple standard return policy is 14 calendar days. So we gave some information. And as you can see, it's still asking us if you want to actually schedule a meeting with someone. So now that it has context, it can answer about it. It's actually going to the company files and you can actually schedule meetings. So this is it. This is the whole workflow. This is something you can actually sell to clients. So you just find websites that don't have any kind of chatbot and you do all this implementation. You go to all the pages and copy and paste the files, get the terms and conditions and more. And then you just replace as I just did and you can sell this to any company. I hope this is helpful. Make sure to check my school community. Now it's free, but it will eventually be paid, so get in while you can, and you can download this and more templates there. I hope you enjoy and see you soon.